Brandon.
Hey.
Well, there's a lot of things I'd like to ask you, but with seeing, the schedule and seeing these teams, back to back to back at the start of the year, we all thought this was going to be great, like little playoff series. But when you're on the losing end of it, and let's say, last night you see Markey and he's lights out and you can only get one puck past him. Now you got to see him again tomorrow, probably see him again 4 games in a row. In some respects, is this harder seeing the same opponents and same ex-teammates night after night versus a rotating schedule?
I wouldn't say it's harder. Anytime you face former teammates, it's always kind of a different feeling or a special feeling. But you know what? Times like this, when you're going through a losing streak like we are, when we go into games, our focus is just solely on what we're doing. We're not focusing on who we're playing. We're not trying to. You definitely make adjustments from team to team. In terms of maybe their systems, what they do, but in terms of the guys you're playing against, our like I said, our focus is on how we want to play. And over the course of the season, that's always your focus. And again, maybe this year there's a little bit more time to sit back and focus on the other team's details a bit because you're playing them 2, 3, 4 times in a row. But again, just because Markey's over there, we're still playing our game the way we want to play. We're still going to make the plays we want to make and shoot the pucks we want to shoot. And we don't really change anything depending on, who's on the other side. So again, our focus is on what we're trying to do. And it's just been a tough go the last 10 days here. But you can just feel the improvement we've had, and we just got to stay with it.
I know it's early in a season to be looking at the standings, but right now, obviously it's not great for you guys. How important do you think it is to try to focus on just the next game and not look at the hole that you've dug yourselves here?
Yeah, that's the whole mindset. Worry about the next game, worry about your next shift, simplify it as much as you can. A lot of guys, I've been through losing streaks like this several times, and it's you always have a couple bad games, and then you have a couple of good games those are the hardest ones to win. And we had our few games we really didn't like, and now we've had a couple of games that we really liked, and you can feel the feeling kind of turning a bit. So getting that first win is always the hardest part in a streak, and we just got to go find it.
Thanks, Brandon.
We'll take our next question from Barry DeLay.
Hey, Brandon. Obviously, you guys have been so much better defensively the last couple, but now they're not going in the net. How confident are you that that's going to come, and how hard is it to stay patient when it seems like you can't get a break around their net?
Yeah, it's those moments in the game. There was one last night. I think they just made it 2-1. We went out power play. I think it was Husey made a nice shot tip to Best in the slot. He tipped it off the post and out. When things are going your way, that puck goes in. It's 2-2, and it's a whole different game. We've seen the same thing in the last Toronto game. We had some chances to go up 2-1, and an inch here, an inch there. It's a different game, but that's just the way it goes when things aren't going your way. Our focus is more pucks to the net. Our shot totals have been way better the last few games. So that's a huge focus. If you're over 30 shots, you got a chance every night. So we got to stay with that focus. And again, not change much from what we've done the last few days here. Just keep pushing.
Yeah, I guess that's been the thing. They always say you play good defense, the offense will come back the other way. Is there at least a positive attitude that you are doing that part at least right, and that the offense has to come?
Yeah, definitely. Especially our breakouts and the plays we're making out of our zone. We've been much better. Felt like a few games there we were kind of just trying to shovel the puck out and just get it out of the zone, but we didn't really maintain any possession of it. We just kind of started forechecking again without the puck. We're starting to make some more plays. Our confidence is a little bit better out of our zone. Everybody coming back wanting the puck and trying to make plays out of our zone. When you do that, it's amazing how much more time you spend in the offensive zone. So we're going to keep focusing on the things that we want to do.
Great. Thanks.
You bet.
We'll go next to Thomas Drance.
Brandon, you noted having been through similar things in your career, but this time around with, increasing limitations on what you can do away from the rink, the lack of fans in the building, all the changes that this year has brought, does it feel a little different? Is it a little harder to find, some of that energy that can maybe put you over the hump and end one of those streaks?
Well, it's just a different year for everybody. Everyone's in the same boat, and it seems like as we go along, there's kind of more regulations and restrictions, just things we're not used to. But that's just that's the world we're in, so we'll make the most of it. I don't really think it changes much from our game day to day. Obviously, not having fans is a part that every player is going to tell you. That part just sucks. Not having that energy, not having that jump. Like you said, sometimes you go on a tough road trip, you come home and you come back to your home rink and there's a buzz in the building. You can kind of feel it. Fans are excited to see you and they're jacked up. Yeah, it's great to have that momentum on your side, but at the same time, when you go on the road, it's in your favor a bit here now too. So it's pretty level ground for everyone.
Yeah, and have you considered, like, this hasn't really been tried to this point, like, because hockey was played without fans in the bubble, right? If you went on a losing streak, you were going home, right? Like, there's never been a team that's had to go through it without that element. Does it almost test you in a different way? Is it a new type of challenge in any way from your perspective?
Not really. Like I said, it's every day there's new rules and guidelines we're following, and we're trying to keep up to date with what we're supposed to do. And once the puck's dropped, you're pretty much playing your game, no matter what the situation is. Like I said, there's not always that energy in the building that they're used to, or the momentum swings, but the game itself stays the same. And yeah, that's about all I got on that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, unless we have any other hands pop up in the meantime, we'll take one more from Rob Williams.
Hi, Brandon. I know there was a lot of talk about this in the bubble, but because there are no fans to provide that boost of energy, do you guys try to make a conscious effort to be more vocal on the bench and try to manufacture energy that way?
Oddly enough, I think it's when you're actually on the bench and you're in the game. Oddly enough, whether there's fans in the building or not, I think the players' personalities or the way they are on the bench doesn't really change. You're always gonna have some guys that are more vocal, some guys that are less vocal. Everyone's got their own kind of strengths and their own way to kind of lead through a game. So yeah, actually, not having the fans there hasn't really changed much in that regard. Obviously, you can hear each other a bit more. You can hear more talk from the bench when you're on the ice, but it actually hasn't changed a whole lot.
And it's been a couple of years since you guys have had a losing streak this long. I know you obviously want to win games all the time, even back then, but does it feel different now because expectations were so much higher coming into this season?
Well, it's expectations from the outside maybe, but as a player, every year your expectations to come and win a cup. That's your mindset from day one of training camp. Obviously last year we had some success in the playoffs and that was great. But it's a new year. It's a whole new start. You can see how tight the league is. Any year, any team can do it. And right now we just haven't had the last 10 days that we needed to have to get ourselves in the start that we wanted. But that's the way the season goes sometimes. And you always go through streaks like this through the year. I mentioned it, I think, last week that it sucks that we started the year like that. But hey, there's still lots of hockey left to be played. And we're really just focusing, like I said, on our next shift, our next game. And you really got to simplify things when you're in these kind of situations. So we're going to keep working. We're not going to hang our heads. We're going to keep going.
Thanks.
Yep.
And we'll return here to Ian McIntyre for one more.
So we just got through torturing Nils Höglander with questions, but it strikes me, if you look at him as an example, he's a 20-year-old kid, a long way from home. Normally he'd be hanging out with other young guys on the team away from the rink, maybe living with somebody. People like you would probably be taking him out to dinner, trying to make him feel part of the group. None of that has been possible. When you look at the group as a whole, how much have the circumstances been a challenge to trying to get your team together and trying to get some cohesiveness, feel like a team, basically?
Yeah. That part's tough. No question about it. Fortunately for myself personally, I have a family, I have a wife and kids. So I go home, I'm doing my normal stuff. For our young guys, they're more or less hanging out by themselves all the time. And that's tough. I mean, it's just the world we're in right now. And it's that part's a challenge for sure. And part of that too is I think usually in a year like this, when you have a losing streak, this is the time where you get everyone together and go have a big dinner and whatever, get some camaraderie and build that a little bit. That's just not an option this year, so we'll have to find other ways to get it.
And just one last follow to that, then, if it's especially hard for the young guys, and you have so many young guys who are key players to your team, do you think starting the season badly, it's even worse than what it would normally be because they're alone with their thoughts? They don't, there's nobody to lean on. There isn't that camaraderie to help lift them.
Yeah, you know what? I think our young guys they're pretty hardworking kids, and I don't think, like you said, Niels is in different countries, 20 years old. It's a life change for him. Anyone that's been in the league the first year or two, it's a whole different animal, and it takes you a couple of years to get used to it. But for PD and Bess and Huggy, guys like that, they're pretty professional for their age, and I think they've handled it really well. Obviously, like I said, it'd be great to kind of get them involved more with. Usually we have guys over for dinner and get them to hang out with their kids a bit, and it kind of gives them a break from what they've been doing. And we just haven't had that chance this year. But in terms of how we play on the ice, those guys have they know how to prepare and how to play. So we'll keep leaning on them.
Thanks, Brandon.
Yep.
Great. Thanks, Brandon, for your time. That concludes today's media availability. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. And please keep an eye on Canucks PR on Twitter as usual for scheduling updates for tomorrow.